All right, everybody, it is another Sunday's come and gone, and we have another episode of Series 11. This time we are on episode 7, Kerblam, written by Pete McTeague. Um, Pete McTeague is interesting because he's written for some of the linear notes and some of the advertisements for some of the Doctor Who Blu-rays, which is, I found a bit interesting that he would be the one, or that, he's one to write it, because he's obviously a fan. You can obviously see in Kerblam, the episode, quite a lot of, fanboy fun coming out of it, and quite a lot of very, very interesting ideas playing around here. Some very interesting, some very interesting, written things, things that I very much enjoy. You have a very complex script for what honestly has no right to be very good, yet Kerblam was amazing. Like, I really enjoyed this week. Obviously, there are going to be spoilers, probably, because I always seem to end up spoiling these things, even if I'm not really intending to. It just sort of happens. You know how it goes. But Kerblam is really a lot of fun. One of the big points is that it helps that it isn't written by Chris Chibnall, and which really does help a lot. Like, Chibnall really, we had 5 episodes with him, and that wasn't the best. It got very samey with those. With But with Kerblam, um, you have the you have a very, very fun episode that it does an interesting idea. Like, well, one, it references quite a bit of classic Who stories. The robots in it are very much inspired by Greatest Show in the Galaxy. The premise comes out of sort of comes out of the premise comes out of Big Finish is the warehouse, sort of where people are disappearing at this Kerblam place, and it's a giant warehouse, basically Amazon, where workers, they probably don't get paid enough, but they're not abused, but it could be better for them. Something that is very important to note is that it's a very balanced portrayal of sort of this commentary on Amazon. Part of it is taking the, hey, eventually everyone's gonna be redundant, and should we? And a lot of the question that comes from that is, should we allow everyone to be redundant, or should we just try to fight for workers' rights? Like, the idea is that Kerblam has a 10% people employees, and a lot of those people are doing menial tasks that could easily be done by robots. Could easily be done by robots, and and nothing would change. It's a very, very good thing. And a lot of this episode is sort of a very much the Doctor and company sort of investigating the mystery, because they get a message from Kerblam when the Doctor gets a package, which is a Fez, again, in reference to the 11th Doctor, obviously. And with the Fez, what happens is, well, there's a message saying, help me. So the Doctor obviously thinks someone must be in trouble. They go to investigate it. They go to investigate Kerblam. They get themselves, right in working, and they know something's going wrong, but the Doctor doesn't exactly have a complete, idea that, is it these two higher up people? You have Judy, who's head of people, and Mr. Slade, who is sort of like a manager type. Judy sort of seems way too nice, and way too, way too much of, just someone who cares, even if she isn't doing her best job. She's not a bad person. Uh, if it's Slade, it could easily be Slade because he seems, he's in automation. He seems to be hiding something with a filing cabinet and like some paperwork, even though everything should be done digitally by now. Uh, and he's all just sort of mean. Like the doctor gets this really good speech at him, get with him, basically saying, there are good managers and there are bad managers. Good managers know when they're helping, and it's just a very powerful speech. Um, but what's really nice is that the villain of this story, it isn't either of the higher ups. It isn't the big bad corporation who is evil. It's a very nice like, hey, it's a very measured like, hey, yeah, there are flaws in the corporation, but the people in charge, they aren't the bad people, and they're willing to change. The end sort of has them change. No, it's a the big the villain is sort of the workers who is a terrorist, basically like sick that you know people are redundant and wants to see a big change, wants to see uh, everybody everybody in a very everyone in a job. So he's essentially developed he's modified bubble wrap, which is it's really creepy. Like it's actually really scary. Like it's like if you because everybody pops bubble wrap. Well, when you pop the bubble wrap, it'll make you disintegrate and kill you. Like that's very creepy. It's also very Doctor Who, like very quite zany. Uh, and you know what? Honestly, the way the Doctor decides to end the plot ends up seeing the villain actually for once this season dead. The villain Charlie doesn't survive, and what's nice is that Charlie, you can see where he's coming from, but you can also see that no, he's crazy. Like yeah, he's good. He understands that people need jobs. Yeah, people need to find their own purpose in life. It's a very existentialist sort of thing. Like people need to find their own purpose, and jobs generally give people purpose, in some way, because they're doing it for whatever reason. But like, the dude was gonna kill a bunch of people. Like that's not, it's not really, uh, it's not really that solid. Like he doesn't. It's not. It doesn't work well like that. Like with it doesn't work like that. You can't just kill everybody. Um, but it was uh, it was a really it was a really generally uh, it was generally really good. Like that was a really good critique. It was something that I really enjoyed. Um, the it felt if the characters felt real. We had a lot of like just some time to get to know the workers two of the workers who both ended up dead. You had some great stuff with the Doctor and companions. Like Graham still continues to steal the show, basically being all like, there. It's like the Doctor forces him. It's like, right, you need to go to maintenance because I need to be in the packing slip where we got the message, um, and that is actually the computer, the system being that sent the message is actually a really good twist. Yasmin actually gets to do some good stuff. She actually gets to use some of her police training in apprehending our villain, which was really good. Some of the CGI was a bit dodgy in places, um, which was a bit odd because the rest of the season has been so good with CG. Um, but overall, the episode just sort of manages to somehow be just that really fun mix of stuff. It really, and it's nice that we have a villain, we have actually a bit of a stronger villain. The villain is a person who has, that's sort of taking, it's, it's, it's doing sort of a terrorism, sort of a terrorism is bad message type thing, but much better than say the Zygon invasion and Zygon inversion. Whereas this is like, this is a story like, hey, even like that, even someone with really good ideas can be radicalized into terrorism, but that doesn't make their ideas any less good, and it doesn't make their actions any less horrible and wrong. Um, if they have good ideas but they're going around trying to achieve those ideas in a bad manner, it's a very very it's something like that that's really really good. Something that Doctor Who does really really well. Um, Also, just the episode was a lot of fun. Honestly, the fun helps. It feels a little traditional Who, but it felt like it scratched that itch that something was missing for quite a lot of Series 11 so far. So, if I were to rate Kerblam, it'd probably get like an 8 or a 9. It's not perfect, but it's really solid, and I'm glad. Like we Pete McTeague really should probably be honestly he should be allowed to write more for Who. He's really good. Uh, Again, it's quite telling that the only two episodes this season that haven't been written by Chibnall are are the really really good ones. But yeah, that's Kerblam in a nutshell. Really fun.